Live audience and hear from them. You have 30 seconds to ask your questions. Let me know. Oh, I see one hand, two, beautiful, three and four. Can we get the mics to them so we can hear from them quickly as regards the contribution? Your name and your question.
All right. My name is Julius Adebayo. Thank you for this wonderful town square, and I appreciate the submission so far. I have an observation and also
Explicit.
okay, thank you. I have an observation and subsequently a question. Ma'am, I love your submissions, but then I actually observed that you've not been able to speak about some of our advancements in the democratic journey. So in your previous assertions, you said there's a concerted effort to gag the media. And you also made mention of the fact that there was attack
like
on
to
TV
go
stations.
To the question precisely.
Yes,
yeah.
you said, no, the observation first.
You have
You
30
said-
seconds and
yes,
you run out
yes.
of time.
So you,
Just
on the
go
press
straight to
freedom,
the question, yes.
I actually remember that during the NSAS regime, rather than the government attack innocent Nigerians, we had a situation where Nigerians, some unscrupulous Nigerians, attack a TV station and burnt it to ashes. I do not think such would have happened under a dispensation that was not democratic.
All right.
Then to the question now. Okay, is it possible that there has been areas where we've advanced and left situations where Nigerians do not begin to ask for situations in Burkina Faso to happen in Nigeria?
All right.
Thank you.
That wasn't a good example for the 30 seconds time you have to ask your question. So I'm hoping that I don't have to stand up to hold the mic myself. All right, let's get another question in quickly.
So good day, sir. I have a question for you, sir. My first question is, since the disbandment of the NSAS during October 2020, we've had a lot of issues concerning police brutality. So I want to ask, what step has the federal government taken after that? Because we've heard about a lot of police brutality after the disbandment of NSAS.
Okay.
All right. Next person, please.
Good day, sirs. My question is, do you think Nigerians are actively participating in democracy, or we are just a spectator today? Like, are we practicing it, or we are just a spectator?
And then we'll take one more question.
All right. Good day, everyone. My name is Princess Joseph. Here's my question. So elections here are basically, or is basically, one of the most important outplay or display of democracy. But the issue is that I think a huge ton of Nigerians are discouraged because we don't see transparency. We feel, the majority of us feel that there is little to no transparency in the elections. So what structures can we put in place to bring about a sense of conviction that our elections are transparent?
All right. So perhaps how do you had a specific question, right? And you remember it about a balanced mix of good and bad as to what has happened in, yes, beautiful. But let me come to Mr. Bwala quickly to get your reaction to what he talked about transparency in elections. Yes.
So we have the executive branch of government and you have the other two branches. Part of what the executive branch of government does is to implement the constitution, to enforce the constitution. And in the course of implementing and enforcement of the constitution, there would always be need to progress. So if you look at 2011 after the election, first of all, you start with Yaradua, who said the process that brought me was flawed. I will introduce reform. He did. When Jonathan was approaching the election, there was this outcry by his party people that you don't have to reform the election because you will lose the election. He said even if he will lose, there was a reform. When Buhari came, he did what he could. With this administration, you see those sweeping reforms we are bringing into transparency, as far as INEC and the conduct of election is there. That's the whole idea of democracy. But the good thing is that at every given time, the executive acts of government can always be checked by the court. So if the executive branch or agency of government carries out a function that you think is ultra-vires, unconstitutional, you go to the court, you test the veracity of that action. So we are perfectly moving the democracy. I wanted to also, because he also asked one question in relation to the protests and all that. If you noticed, last year there was a protest that called on military intervention in Nigeria. The president at no time asked that the people should be stopped from the protest. They did that for a number of days, 11 or so. He was constantly communicating to the Nigerian people, I hear your cry, I know what you're going through. That is how you entrench democracy. You don't gag the people. I also gave you an example of freedom of expression by different people and the content of that expression, most of which can clearly lead to, locking people and arresting them. But on many occasions, they were allowed to just fizzle out. Right. Because we also as a government realize that there are some people, they deliberately attack the government to get the government attention. So we ignore them. It's a free society. People can express themselves. But when you commit a crime, the state cannot watch that the state goes down without,
Mr. Sanusi, let me get your reaction to the second and third question. The young man is asking whether Nigerians are actively participating or just being spectators in this democracy. And then there's another thing about police brutality.
Well, as far as the participation of Nigerians